The stars twinkled peacefully in the night sky above NASA's main control center. Tom Reed, the night shift supervisor, was sipping his third cup of coffee when the first alarm went off. At first, he thought it was just another piece of space debris, but as more sensors lit up across his screen, his hands began to shake. "Sir, you need to see this," called out one of his technicians, pointing at the main display. The radar showed multiple objects, massive in size, appearing just beyond Mars' orbit. They weren't moving like natural objects. Their movements were too precise, too coordinated. Within minutes, the control room transformed from its usual quiet night shift atmosphere into a hub of frantic activity. Phones rang, keyboards clattered, and urgent voices filled the air. Tom's fingers flew across his keyboard as he sent emergency alerts to his superiors. "Get me confirmation from all our deep space telescopes," he ordered, his voice steady despite the chaos unfolding around him. "And someone wake up the director." The objects continued their advance toward Earth, moving at speeds that defied current human technological capabilities. They weren't trying to hide. These visitors wanted to be seen. Director Robert Wilson arrived at the control center within 30 minutes, still adjusting his tie. His face grew pale as he studied the data streaming across the screens. "How many?" he asked. "We've counted over 300 large vessels so far, sir," Tom replied. "And more keep appearing. The largest one is roughly the size of Manhattan." The next few hours were a blur of activity. Military commanders from around the world joined emergency video conferences. Space agencies from every nation shared their data, confirming what NASA had discovered. This wasn't a drill or a natural phenomenon. Earth was facing its first confirmed contact with an alien civilization. As dawn broke over the United States, the alien fleet had positioned itself in a perfect formation just beyond the moon's orbit. Their technology was clearly advanced. Their ships showed no signs of conventional propulsion systems, and they seemed to ignore the basic laws of physics that human spacecraft had to obey. The first transmission came at exactly 800 UTC. Every television, radio, and digital device on Earth suddenly displayed the same message. "Attention, inhabitants of Sol 3. You are now in the presence of the Galactic Empire's Grand Fleet. Prepare for evaluation." In the Pentagon's war room, General Michael Thompson watched the satellite feeds with growing concern. The alien ships had deployed smaller vessels, each about the size of a commercial airplane. These scouts began systematic sweeps of Earth's atmosphere, easily evading attempts by various air forces to intercept them. "They're scanning us," reported a young analyst. "Our sensors show they're mapping everything: cities, military bases, power plants, population centers. They're creating a complete tactical analysis of Earth." The world's governments struggled to maintain order as panic began to spread. In some cities, people rushed to stockpile supplies. Others held impromptu peace rallies, hoping to welcome the visitors with open arms. Religious leaders offered varying interpretations of what this moment meant for humanity. But in a secure bunker deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, a small group of military and scientific leaders watched the unfolding events with grim determination. They had been preparing for this possibility for decades, ever since they had discovered something in the Antarctic ice that changed their understanding of humanity's place in the universe. Colonel David White opened a sealed folder marked Protocol Omega and addressed the room. "Ladies and gentlemen, what we're about to discuss never officially existed. But right now, it might be the only thing standing between humanity and extinction." As he spoke, the alien fleet's formation shifted. The largest ship, their apparent flagship, moved closer to Earth. Its size became even more apparent. It cast a shadow on the moon's surface visible from Earth with the naked eye. The world held its breath, waiting for what would come next. In homes and offices across the globe, people gathered around screens, watching the historical moment unfold. Children pointed at the new stars in the sky, not yet understanding the gravity of the situation. In orbit, the International Space Station's crew had the clearest view of the visitors. They transmitted images showing vessels of impossible beauty, sleek shapes that seemed to be made of liquid metal, glowing with internal energy that defied human understanding. Humanity's first contact with alien life had arrived. But as the day progressed, one thing became increasingly clear. These visitors hadn't come in peace. They had come to conquer, and Earth had less than 24 hours to decide how to respond to this overwhelming show of force. The world's leaders had barely finished their emergency meetings when the Galactic Empire made its next move. At precisely noon UTC, the massive flagship positioned itself directly above the United Nations headquarters in New York. The ship's presence cast an enormous shadow over the city, its metallic surface reflecting sunlight in patterns that seemed to defy physics. New Yorkers stood in the streets, phones raised to capture images of the vessel that stretched from horizon to horizon. Inside the UN General Assembly, representatives from every nation sat in stunned silence as their screens flickered to life. The image that appeared showed a humanoid figure, but there was nothing human about it. The beam wore armor that seemed to shift colors with each movement, and its eyes glowed with an inner light that spoke of advanced genetic engineering. "I am High Commander Drake of the Galactic Empire," the figure announced in perfect English. "We have completed our initial assessment of your world. You will now receive our terms." The translation systems weren't needed. Somehow, everyone heard the message in their native language. The commander's voice echoed through every speaker, every phone, every device capable of producing sound across the planet. "Earth has been chosen for integration into the Empire. Your technological level has reached the threshold where you pose a potential threat to galactic stability. You have two options: accept Imperial rule and gain access to our knowledge, or face immediate planetary quarantine." In the White House Situation Room, President Williams gripped the edge of the table. "What exactly do you mean by quarantine?" he asked, his voice transmitted directly to the alien commander. The being's lips curved into what might have been a smile. "Your species will be confined to this solar system. Any attempt to develop faster-than-light travel will be met with immediate response. Your current level of technology will be reduced to ensure compliance." Around the world, military commanders watched as their most advanced weapon systems suddenly went offline. Nuclear silos reported complete shutdowns. Aircraft carriers lost power. It was a demonstration of power that left no doubt about the Empire's capabilities. "You have 6 hours to make your decision," Commander Drake continued. "We are being generous. Most species receive only 1 hour. Choose wisely." The transmission ended, leaving Earth's leaders in chaos. Emergency sessions convened in every capital city. The UN Security Council began immediate deliberations. But in that secret bunker beneath the Rocky Mountains, Colonel White was already in motion. He approached a scanner that looked decades ahead of any publicly known technology. As his eye was scanned, massive doors began to open, revealing a chamber that shouldn't have existed. "Begin activation sequence," he ordered. Authorization code: Phoenix Rising. The chamber hummed to life. Along its walls, symbols lit up, symbols that matched those on the Imperial ships above. Banks of computers began running programs that had waited decades for this moment. In orbit, aboard the Imperial flagship, Commander Drake received an urgent message from his science officer. "Sir, we're detecting energy signatures. Impossible energy signatures." "Explain," Drake demanded. "The readings match Old One technology, but that's impossible. This world was certified as a primitive development zone. They shouldn't have." The officer's words were cut short as new readings appeared on their screens. Deep beneath Earth's surface, something ancient was awakening. Back in the UN, as world leaders argued about surrender terms, a new transmission cut through all channels. The voice was human, but carried an authority that silenced even the Imperial communications. "This is Earth's Defense Command to the Galactic Empire." Colonel White's voice rang out. "We have received your terms. Now you will receive ours." In orbit, Commander Drake's expression shifted from confidence to confusion as his sensors detected something his scouts had missed. A planetary defense grid that shouldn't have existed, powered by technology his empire had only seen in ancient ruins. You speak of quarantine, Colonel White continued. But you should ask yourselves this. Why was Earth marked as restricted territory by the Old Ones? Why were we left alone to develop? The answer is about to become very clear. As he spoke, hidden installations around the planet began to power up. The Empire was about to learn that humanity had not been as defenseless as they had assumed. The true nature of Earth's heritage was about to be revealed, and the galaxy would never be the same. Commander Drake's face showed the first hints of uncertainty. Perhaps he realized they had made a terrible mistake in threatening this seemingly primitive world. Deep within the mountain complex, Colonel White led a small group of world leaders through security checkpoints that grew increasingly sophisticated with each level they descended. President Williams, along with representatives from Russia, China, and the European Union, struggled to process what they were seeing. This facility, White explained, his footsteps echoing in the corridor, was built in 1954, shortly after we discovered the vault. The group emerged into a vast chamber that stretched farther than the eye could see. Along its walls, enormous machines hummed with power. But these weren't human machines. Their surfaces bore the same flowing script seen on the Imperial ships above. "My God," whispered the Chinese premier. "How long have you known about this?" White approached a central control platform. In 1952, a geological survey team in Antarctica found something in the ice. Not a ship or a weapon, but a message, a warning, left by those we now call the Guardians. Holograms sprang to life around them, showing images of Earth's ancient past. They watched as advanced civilizations rose and fell, each protecting something vital, something hidden within the planet itself. Earth isn't just another world, White continued. It's a fortress built to protect something the Old Ones feared might fall into the wrong hands. Humanity wasn't meant to be primitive. We were engineered to be its defenders. In orbit, the Imperial fleet was detecting increasing energy signatures from the planet below. Commander Drake ordered his science teams to analyze the readings, but they were unlike anything in Imperial records. "Sir," his second-in-command reported, "these energy patterns, they match the theoretical weapons of the Guardian era. But that's impossible. Those technologies were lost eons ago." Back in the mountain facility, White activated another system. Screens showed a network of satellites that no public space agency had ever launched. They had been there all along, hidden in plain sight, waiting for this moment. Project Guardian isn't just a defense system, White explained. It's a heritage left to us by those who came before. They knew the Empire would eventually find us. They made sure we'd be ready. President Williams stepped forward. "Why weren't we told about this? Why keep it secret from world governments?" White's expression remained grim. "Because the knowledge itself is dangerous. The Empire isn't the first to try claiming Earth. Others came before, drawn by what lies beneath our feet. Each time, humanity rose to defend it, even if we didn't understand what we were protecting." In the chamber center, a final set of doors opened, revealing a sight that left even the seasoned leaders speechless. A sphere of energy floated in midair, its surface rippling with colors that shouldn't exist in normal space. "This," White said softly, "is what they want. What they've always wanted. The key to technologies even the Empire has forgotten. And now we're going to show them why Earth was never meant to be conquered." Above them, Imperial sensors detected the activation of defense systems across the globe. Hidden installations, buried beneath mountains, beneath oceans, beneath the polar ice, came to life. Each contained technologies that the Empire had considered lost to time. Commander Drake received increasingly urgent reports from his fleet. Their most advanced scanning systems couldn't penetrate Earth's newly activated defenses. Their weapons, capable of destroying entire worlds, couldn't lock onto their targets. "Sir," his tactical officer called out, "we're detecting energy signatures from Earth's moon, and Mars, and the asteroid belt. The entire solar system is waking up." In the mountain facility, White turned to the assembled leaders. The Empire thought they found a primitive world ready for conquest. Instead, they've awakened humanity's true purpose. We are the guardians now, and it's time we lived up to that responsibility. The leaders watched as ancient machinery, maintained in secret for generations, powered up fully for the first time in millennia. Earth's hidden arsenal, built by civilizations long forgotten, was ready to demonstrate why this small blue planet had been marked as restricted territory. White's hand hovered over the final activation sequence. "Shall we show the Empire exactly what they've walked into?" he asked, his voice carrying the weight of humanity's destiny. The world leaders exchanged glances, then nodded in unison. The time for hiding was over. Earth was about to reveal its true nature to the galaxy, and the Empire was about to learn why some worlds were meant to be left alone. Colonel White's fingers moved across the ancient control panel with practiced precision. Above Earth, the Imperial fleet maintained its threatening position, unaware of what was about to happen. Initiating Guardian Protocol Alpha, White announced, "All stations, prepare for first demonstration." Around the globe, hidden facilities hummed to life. In orbit, seemingly innocent satellites began transforming, revealing weapons systems that had lain dormant for decades. The moon's surface rippled as concealed defense platforms emerged from their lunar hiding places. Commander Drake watched from his flagship as his tactical displays suddenly filled with new contacts. "What is this?" he demanded. "Where did these defenses come from?" Before his officers could respond, Earth made its move. A single pulse of energy, invisible to normal sensors, rippled out from the planet. As it passed through the Imperial fleet's forward section, 20 of their most advanced warships simply powered down. "Status report," Drake shouted as the pulse approached his flagship. "Unknown energy signature, sir. Our shields aren't. They aren't even registering it. It's like it's operating on physical laws we don't understand." In the mountain facility, White allowed himself a small smile. That was a minimal power demonstration, he explained to the assembled leaders. Just enough to disable their primary power systems without harming their life support. The Chinese premier leaned forward. "And at full power?" "At full power, we could disable every piece of advanced technology in this arm of the galaxy. The Guardians left us with quite a remarkable defense system." President Williams watched the tactical displays as the disabled Imperial ships drifted helplessly. "Send the message," he ordered. White nodded and activated the communications array. His voice, amplified by technologies beyond even the Empire's understanding, reached every Imperial ship simultaneously. "This is Earth Defense Command to the Galactic Empire. What you have just witnessed was a demonstration at 1% power. We are now transmitting data showing our full defensive capabilities." In his flagship, Commander Drake's face paled as he reviewed the incoming data. The energy readings were beyond anything in Imperial records. The weapons signatures matched legends from the Guardian era, technologies his people had dismissed as myths. "Impossible," he whispered. "This world, this primitive world." Another voice cut through his ship's communications. "Not so primitive after all, Commander," Colonel White replied. "Earth was never meant to be conquered. We are its guardians, and we have been preparing for this moment for generations." To demonstrate their point, a second pulse emanated from Earth. This one was focused, precise, and targeted the Empire's most advanced flagship. The massive vessel's weapons, engines, and shields shut down instantly, leaving only basic life support functioning. "Your entire fleet now sits at our mercy," White continued. "We could disable every system you possess with a single command. The Empire has two choices: withdraw immediately from this solar system, or face the consequences of further hostile action." In the mountain facility, the world leaders watched as panic spread through the Imperial fleet. Ships that could still move began backing away from Earth. The disabled vessels sent desperate distress calls. "Should we help them restore power?" President Williams asked. White nodded. "We'll reactivate their essential systems once they reach a safe distance. The Guardians were not cruel, and neither should we be. Another transmission from Earth reached the Imperial fleet. You have 1 hour to begin your withdrawal. After that, we will demonstrate our capabilities at 10% power. I suggest you don't wait to find out what that means. Commander Drake, his mighty flagship now floating helpless in space, gave the order he never thought he'd have to give. All vessels capable of movement begin withdrawal procedures. Send word to Imperial Command. Earth is not what we thought it was. As the Imperial ships began their retreat, White turned to the assembled leaders. This is only the beginning, he said. The Empire won't give up easily. They'll return with new strategies, new weapons. They'll try to learn our secrets. Let them try, the Russian president responded. We've protected Earth's secrets for this long. We won't fail now. From orbit, the disabled Imperial ships watched helplessly as their functioning comrades fled from the small blue planet. Earth had delivered its warning shot, and the message was clear. This world was not defenseless, not primitive, and certainly not ready for conquest. The galaxy was about to learn why Earth had been marked as restricted territory so long ago. The Imperial High Council chamber buzzed with agitated voices. Located in the heart of their capital world, the massive circular room held the Empire's most powerful leaders. Holographic displays showed the humiliating retreat from Earth from every possible angle. Commander Drake stood in the center, his once pristine armor still bearing scorch marks from his ship's emergency systems. The data is conclusive, he reported. Earth possesses technology that predates our empire, technology we thought was lost to history. Grand Admiral Turner, the Empire's supreme military commander, leaned forward on his throne-like chair. His cybernetic eyes scanned through the battle data for the 100th time. How did we miss this? Our scouts reported a primitive civilization barely capable of reaching their own moon. They hit it well. Drake replied. The defense system was completely dormant until we forced their hand. We never detected it because it operates on principles our sensors can't comprehend. The Council's chief scientist, Dr. Pierce, activated a new hologram. It showed Earth's solar system, now surrounded by a web of energy signatures that defied Imperial understanding. The entire system is a fortress, Pierce explained. Not just Earth. Every planet, moon, and asteroid belt contains defensive installations. They're all connected to form a single massive weapon. A weapon that shut down our most advanced ships like they were children's toys, another counselor added bitterly. Grand Admiral Turner raised his hand for silence. The real question is, why? Why would the Guardians leave such power in the hands of a developing species? What could be so important about this one world? An elderly figure stepped forward from the shadows. Historian Richard Green, keeper of the Empire's ancient records, carried a data crystal that glowed with age. Perhaps I can answer that, he said softly. I found something in our oldest archives. The room's lights dimmed as he inserted the crystal into a reader. Ancient symbols filled the air, the same symbols found on Earth's defense systems. 10,000 years ago, Green began, the Guardians marked certain worlds as restricted. Earth wasn't just one of them. It was the first. The warning was specific. What sleeps below must never wake. Drake's eyes widened. Below? You mean there's something beneath Earth's surface? Something the Guardians feared enough to build the most sophisticated defense system ever discovered, Green confirmed. They didn't just leave weapons. They engineered Earth's dominant species to be its protectors. The council chamber erupted in shocked whispers. The Empire had always assumed humanity was just another primitive race. The idea that they were purposefully created as Guardians changed everything. There's more, Green continued. The archives speak of a power source, something the Guardians call the heart. Its energy signature matches what our ships detected beneath Earth's surface. Grand Admiral Turner stood, his cybernetic eyes glowing intensely. Then we must secure this power source, if it's truly Guardian technology. With respect, Admiral, Drake interrupted. You didn't see what their defenses did to our fleet. Any attempt to take this by force would be suicide. In the center of the chamber, a new hologram appeared, a complete simulation of Earth's defensive capabilities based on the data they'd gathered. The Council watched in silence as virtual Imperial fleets were systematically disabled by the planet's protection grid. "Our weapons can't pierce their shields," Dr. Pierce explained. "Our shields can't stop their weapons. They possess technological advantages we can't counter or even understand. A direct military solution is impossible." Grand Admiral Turner sank back into his chair. For the first time in decades, the Empire faced an opponent it couldn't simply overwhelm with superior firepower. Perhaps, historian Green suggested, we should consider why the Guardians chose humanity for this task. Our records suggest they were very specific in their genetic engineering. These humans, they may be more than they appear. The council chamber grew quiet as the implications sank in. The Empire had stumbled upon something far bigger than a simple conquest. They had discovered a world purposefully hidden, protected by technologies beyond their comprehension, guarded by a species engineered for that specific purpose. "Recommendations?" Turner asked the room. Drake stepped forward again. "We need to reassess everything we thought we knew about Earth. This isn't a primitive world to be conquered. It's a fortress world with defenses we can't match, protecting something the Guardians themselves feared. And its defenders," Green added softly, "are beginning to wake up." Colonel White led the world leaders deeper into the mountain facility, past the control room, and into a chamber that had never been shown to outsiders. Its walls were covered in flowing script that seemed to move and change as they watched. "What you're about to see," White said, "is humanity's true origin story. The Guardians left this record for the day we would need it." He placed his hand on a crystalline pedestal in the center of the room. The air shimmered, and a holographic display filled the chamber. It showed Earth, but not as they knew it. Earth as it was millions of years ago. Long before humans walked the Earth, White explained, this planet was chosen for a special purpose. The Guardians, the most advanced civilization in the galaxy's history, needed a safe place to hide their greatest creation. And their greatest mistake. The hologram shifted, showing massive ships descending from the sky. They carried something, a pulsing core of energy that defied description. They called it the heart of creation. White continued, a power source so advanced it could reshape reality itself. But it was too powerful, too dangerous. Other civilizations wanted to use it as a weapon. President Williams watched in awe as the history of Earth unfolded before them. And they chose our planet to hide it. They did more than that, White replied. They rebuilt Earth from the inside out, creating a natural fortress. Every mountain range, every ocean trench, was designed as part of a defense system. But they needed more than just technology. They needed guardians. The hologram showed the Guardians working with genetic material, carefully crafting a new species. They took the most promising local life forms and guided their evolution. They created us, humanity, to be the heart's protectors. In orbit, the remaining Imperial ships detected massive energy surges from beneath Earth's surface. The heart was responding to the awakening of its defenders. Commander Drake, watching from his crippled flagship, received the readings with growing concern. The power levels, they're beyond anything in our records. What have we awakened? Back in the mountain chamber, the hologram showed scenes from human history, great civilizations rising and falling, each one guided by hidden knowledge planted in humanity's collective unconscious. Every major breakthrough in human history, White explained, was part of the Guardians' plan. They left markers in our DNA, knowledge that would surface when needed. The pyramids, Stonehenge, the ancient monuments, all were built over nodes in Earth's defense grid. And now, the Chinese premier asked, why is it all activating now? White's expression grew serious. Because humanity has reached the point the Guardians predicted. We've advanced enough to understand our purpose, and the Empire's arrival was the trigger they planned for. The hologram shifted one final time, showing the full extent of Earth's defenses. The entire solar system was interconnected, a vast machine designed to protect the heart of creation. The Empire thought they found a primitive world, White said. Instead, they found the most heavily defended planet in the galaxy. Every human being carries the genetic markers of the Guardians. We are their chosen protectors, and now we're ready to fulfill that purpose. In the Imperial flagship, Drake watched as new readings poured in. The humans weren't just activating ancient defenses, they were beginning to understand how to use them. His sensors detected changes in human brain patterns across the planet, as though dormant areas were suddenly awakening. "They're evolving," his science officer reported in awe. "The Guardian protocols hidden in their DNA are activating. These humans, they're becoming what they were always meant to be." In the mountain chamber, the world leaders watched as White activated the final sequence. The chamber script began to glow, and each person felt something stir in their minds. Ancient knowledge, planted by the Guardians, finally awakening. "This is just the beginning," White said, his eyes reflecting the glow of awakening power. "The Empire forced us to reveal our true nature, but they have no idea what they've started. Humanity isn't just another species to be conquered. We are the chosen guardians of something far more important than any empire." The heart of creation pulsed deep beneath their feet, responding to humanity's awakening. The time had come for Earth to embrace its true purpose, and for humanity to become what the Guardians had always intended them to be. The galaxy would never be the same. The Imperial Council chamber had never been so quiet. Before them floated a hologram of Earth, but it was no longer the seemingly harmless blue planet they had planned to conquer. Now it glowed with power that their sensors could barely comprehend. Commander Drake stood at attention, delivering his final report. "The humans have fully activated their planetary defense grid. Their genetic awakening is complete. They are now capable of controlling Guardian technology with just a thought." Grand Admiral Turner rubbed his temples. "And their demands?" "Simple ones," Drake replied. "They want recognition as a sovereign power and a guarantee that no further attempts will be made to seize the heart of creation." In Earth's orbital space, the disabled Imperial ships were being carefully reactivated by Earth's defense systems. Colonel White, now speaking for the Unified Earth Defense Command, had ordered that the Empire's crews be treated with respect. "We are not conquerors," White's message echoed across space. "We are guardians. The Empire has a choice: accept us as equals or face the consequences of continued aggression." The Imperial ship's crews watched in amazement as their systems came back online. The humans could have destroyed them at any moment, but chose mercy instead. It was a demonstration of power more effective than any weapon. Back on Earth, the changes were becoming visible. Humans across the planet reported newfound abilities. The ability to interface with Guardian technology, to understand complex scientific principles that had previously seemed impossible. The dormant genetic gifts left by the Guardians were blooming. In the mountain facility, President Williams met with the world's leaders. The old rivalries and conflicts seemed petty now, in light of humanity's true purpose. "We are one people," Williams declared. "The Guardians designed us to work together, to protect something greater than ourselves. It's time we lived up to that destiny." The Empire's response came 3 days later. A new fleet arrived at the edge of the solar system, not for battle, but for diplomacy. The Empire's Grand Ambassador himself came to negotiate Earth's new status in the galactic community. The meeting took place in a neutral location, a space station constructed by Earth's newly awakened technology, floating in orbit above the planet. The station's design incorporated both Guardian and human elements, a symbol of humanity's evolving nature. "We acknowledge Earth's sovereignty," the Grand Ambassador announced, his voice carrying across space. "The Empire recognizes humanity's role as the Guardian's chosen protectors. We seek not conquest now, but cooperation." Colonel White, representing Earth, allowed himself a small smile. "Cooperation we can offer. The Guardians left us more than weapons. They left us knowledge. Knowledge that could benefit all species if used wisely. The treaty that followed reshaped galactic politics. Earth was recognized not just as an independent power, but as a custodian of technologies and secrets that predated the Empire itself. The heart of creation would remain safely hidden, protected by its chosen guardians. Across the galaxy, news spread of the Empire's decision. Other civilizations, hearing of Earth's awakening, began sending their own diplomatic missions. They came not to challenge Earth's power, but to learn from a world that had been touched by the legendary Guardians. In the mountain facility, White stood with the world leaders, watching holographic displays of ships arriving from across the galaxy. "This is what the Guardians intended," he said. "Not just guardians of a power source, but guardians of knowledge, of balance." The Empire's ships began their final withdrawal from Earth's space, but not in defeat. They left behind ambassadors, scientists, and scholars, eager to work with humanity as equals. The age of conquest was ending. An age of cooperation was beginning. Deep beneath the Earth's surface, the heart of creation pulsed steadily, safely contained within its ancient vault. The humans had proven themselves worthy of their inherited role, demonstrating not just the power to defend it, but the wisdom to use that power responsibly. The galaxy expected to find a primitive world ready for conquest, White said, watching the stars. Instead, they found something much more valuable. They found hope. As the sun set on this new era, Earth glowed with the power of its awakened defenses, a beacon in the darkness of space. Humanity had found its true purpose, not as conquerors or subjects, but as guardians of something far greater than empire or power. The Galactic Empire had indeed set its sights on Earth, but in doing so, they had helped humanity become something far more significant than anyone had imagined. A new chapter in galactic history had begun, and Earth would lead the way.